welcome to Financial Independence Retire Early. My name is Bert. This is like the 31st or the 32nd episode. Actually, look, it's in the title. With that said, in this episode, we're going to be talking about something that's like very near and dear to my heart. It also very nuanced to people in the Limpopo province of the South African country. But I think anybody in a developing country, developing continent, whether you're in Asia, whether you're in, India, whether you're in Southeast Asia, okay, that's the same kind of continent, but whether you're in Africa, whether you're in Latin America, in Eastern Europe, I think this information, man, look, maybe you're in Europe or North America, but I feel like this information is very, very nuanced to people who are in developing countries, and more so nuanced to people who are in the SADC region of South Africa. With that said, this episode, I'm going to be talking about the Limpopo Metropolitan Development Initiative, right? The Special Metropolitan Development Initiative for Limpopo. This is a, unique or new idea that I came up with, which I'm gonna then trademark. But I thought about it as a young person, as a young business person, as a young African. Kind of what would it take? What are the new ideas that needs to come up? What do we need to do as entrepreneurs, as business people, even as government, in order to kind of catalyze or increase or improve, just kind of put a lot more fire and energy and power into economic activity into this province and into this country, because I feel like Limpopo as a province has a lot of special opportunities, especially just going geographically, before we even look deeper into, the fact that we grow so much food and but just geographically, there's so much potential in our geographical synergy. What I mean by that is, South Africa shares a border with four other countries. This is an outward border because we have like Lesotho and Swaziland, which make things confusing. But the outward borders, right? South Africa shares an outward border with Botswana, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Namibia. And of all these four countries in which we share an outward border with, Limpopo shares a border with 3 out of 4. So that's 75% of our outward borders. And inland, we share a border with KZN, Gauteng, and the Northwest. But what I mean by that is we share border with 3 out of 9. But the reason I mention them is because KZN and Gauteng are like the distribution centers and the economic centers of this country, excluding the Western Cape. Because that economy looks white. The entire country's economy looks white. But what I mean by that is because we share a border with Gauteng and KZN, we're uniquely positioned to receive stuff from the rest of the country and also to distribute this stuff to the rest of the country, because KZN and Gauteng are the two centers for distribution and logistic support within the country. Everything either comes in through Durban or is made in Gauteng and has to be then transported to the rest of the country. So the fact that we share a border with KZN and Gauteng, and the fact that we share a border with 3 out of 4 other SADC region countries in which the country shares a border with, that puts us in a unique position to be the logistic hub and also the manufacturing and distribution hub of a lot of products that are being created within the country, or a lot of products that are coming into the country. And I think that special geographical zone, that geographical synergy, is something that we need to make the best out of in order to catalyze and improve economic activity within this province. So this video is catered, or the next 2 videos, because it's like a 2-3 parter, depending on how far I get through today. The next 2 videos are basically around how, as citizens of Limpopo, as the government, as business people, as young people in this province, how we need to start thinking out the box, how we need to start being innovative, and we need to start creating solutions and ideas for how to improve the economic activity and how to create jobs for ourselves and our loved ones and our friends and our family and people we went to school with, and other young people and other old people that are like unemployed right now within this country. We have a high unemployment rate. So we need to start thinking hard. We need to start thinking very creatively, and we need to start thinking very innovatively to come up with new solutions and ideas on how to develop this country. And one of those is the Limpopo Metropolitan Special Development Initiative. And what that does, more so, the reason I called it Limpopo Metropolitan Initiative, the whole province can't be metropolitan. My focus is going to be on, if you understand the geographic of the Limpopo province, or if you know Polokwane for that matter. Polokwane is in the center of the Polokwane is the capital city of the province. Imagine it in the center. It's probably not in the center, but imagine it in the center. Polokwane is in the center. To the west we have Mankweng, right? To the west we have Mankweng. To the east we have Mankweng, to the west we have Seshego, and to the north we have Botlokwa. Right, so Botlokwa is in the north, Mankweng is in the east, Seshego is in the west, and Polokwane is in the center. This is a northward facing triangle. And this northward facing triangle is what I consider the Special Metropolitan Initiative, because I believe if we can also use the geographical synergy of these 4 places that I just mentioned, this is like how we can, I believe, 3 times the economic value of this province. I believe that we can drastically improve the incremental capital outflow ratio of investments in this province. I believe, given R1 billion today, if you give me R1 billion today, you come back in 3 years, I will have 5 billion rands. And that is how much effective investments I can make within this province because of so much opportunity that exists within this province, right? So To do that, right, we are going to target specific industries for local and foreign direct investment and business development in Limpopo, right? But the core of this, why we have Polokwane in the center and all these three other supporting areas, because we want to decentralize and distribute urbanization, municipal services, and economic activity from the city center outwards into these other places, and that's how we can create this metropolitan zone, right? So we do not just concentrate all economic activity into the Polokwane city center and all municipal services, all development into the Polokwane city center. We need to look outwards and kind of decentralize and distribute urbanization, municipal services, economic activity, and general development to the rest of the province using Polokwane as the center, but these three other supporting towns and townships as the anchors for this special development zone. So we are going to create a catalyst for development of local value chains, of local supply chains, and turn the province into a carbon neutral, a zero carbon circular economy with carbon negative business and economic activity. That is how I envision this province moving forward. If we can create a special metropolitan zone that is carbon neutral, carbon negative, within a circular economy, target specific industries for growth and using local and foreign direct investment, we can definitely grow the economy of this province. So we need to connect Polokwane as the as the financial and administrative center, right? Connect Polokwane better to Seshego, Turf, and Botlokwa into a large industrial metropolitan zone, again with Polokwane as the financial and capital center for all of this. So we're going to build on already existing infrastructure. We're not going to we already have the University of Limpopo. We already have Tshwane University of Technology has a branch here. We already have the Seshego FET. We already have a Botlokwa FET. Now, using education as the core of the development, we can be able then to attract talent and also reskill and upskill the already existing citizens and talent within this province. I think obviously human resource is the most important resource that we are going to need if we're going to develop this country and develop this province. So education is at the core of the strategy. Using the University of Limpopo, using Tshwane University of Technology, using the Seshego FET campus, using the Botlokwa FET campus, I believe we can target education to attract talent and introduce new technologies, industries, businesses, systems, and service. So education and education tech is at the core of the strategy. Human capital, we need to breed innovation, we need to induce confidence, and we need to develop potential that already exists within this province. And now all these industries that I'm talking about is robotics, engineering, automation, 3D printing, 5G, AI, Internet of Things, solar energy, green tech, waste to energy, crypto mining, recycling in a circular economy, food production, agriculture, farming, agricultural product development, healthcare, and fashion. Just these industries that I mentioned, about 8 to 10 of them. If we focus on education in these core industries, then I believe we can definitely quadruple, the economic output of this province in the next 3 to 5 years. Just by zooming in, using the already existing educational systems and maybe improving on them and maybe building another FET, next to the University of Limpopo. But we need to then use the human capital that already exists in this province and train them, upskill them, and reskill them in these industries with a future-focused narrative in order to then develop this province. So robotics, engineering, automation, 3D printing, 5G, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, waste to energy, crypto mining, recycling in the circular economy, food production, agriculture, farming, and agricultural product development, healthcare, and fashion. Now, again, all of these industries, for them to exist effectively, for them to work effectively, one, we need to, improve the human capital, and two, we need infrastructure development. So infrastructure development and education are the two interlinking maybe the mother and the father, but these are at the core of the strategy. We have to improve the infrastructure, and then we have to improve the education system to then train, upskill, reskill, and attract talent into this province that can then move us forward in these specific industries. So the focus on tech and development that can kind of create a direct deflationary impact in the cost reduction of the reason I also picked these industries is because I believe these industries have a deflationary effect on the economy and on people's pockets and on the entire economic ecosystem, right? So the more we improve on these technologies, the more we create a lot of these technologies, they can kind of decrease the financial pressure on some of the poorest people, because these are technologies, these are industries that create a leveling field, or that kind of that create a leveling field and sort of equalizers, right? Sort of if everybody has internet, if everybody has access to technology, that's a sort of equalizer in this information age. So I believe that these industries that I just picked right now, that I'm going to delve into further into how the province can make the best of these industries. I believe that these industries are what is needed mostly to develop this country into what we needed to. So, like I said, Polokwane is the financial and administrative capital that can kind of, again, distribute capital, distribute resources, distribute skills, distribute all of these things to the rest of the rest of the towns and small towns around this industrial center. So, Polokwane being the the financial and administrative center, it has to have business incubators, right? It has to have accelerator programs. It has to have things that help improve business efficiency, things that help, train, things that help educate, and things that help people understand how to, because we need a sophisticated financial system if we're going to like kind of increase development and have funding come from international and build businesses and build unicorns and things like that. We need a really, really sophisticated financial system, and we need business people or young people to understand the financial markets, to understand how venture capitalism works, to understand how, grants and how funding and all these things work. So a sophisticated financial system is at the core of this. So, education, infrastructure, and a healthy, sophisticated financial markets or financial system is at the core of the strategy for the strategy to work. So again, Polokwane, or being the capital city as it is already, has enough capacity today. We don't need to improve that many things, but Polokwane has enough capacity today to handle a growing financial market that can then feed capital inflows and outflows into all of these new developments that we want to see happening. So again, we have to have business incubators. We need co-working space. We need venture capital. We need accelerator programs. We need just things that help improve business efficiency coming from Polokwane as the financial and administrative capital for these projects. And already being that Polokwane has an international airport, like I said, we're building on already existing infrastructure and we're going to improve it and just build new things. But Polokwane already has an international airport. Polokwane already has, like, if most to not all of the banks that functioning in this country, please, then the banks that are South African owned, right? So we already have a functional banking system. We just need to kind of make it a little bit more sophisticated to support entrepreneurship, to support startups, to support venture and all these other private equity. So we need to sophisticate it in that way. More private equity, more venture capital, more startup funding, more incubator programs, more accelerator programs, more business development programs, more business efficiency programs, so that the entrepreneurs, the young people, and the business people who are trying to take part in this economic revolution can understand exactly what they're doing. So that's the financial center, that's Polokwane, but we also need to improve on the infrastructure, especially on the road infrastructure. I think road infrastructure, logistic tech, again, being that at the core of this geographical synergy is the fact that we are, able to send the rest of our products and our services to the rest of the country and the rest of the continent. Like, at the core of this geographical synergy, at the core of the strategy is the geographical synergy. So we need to definitely improve roads, and logistic tech and road infrastructure so that we can receive things from the rest of the country and send them to the rest of the continent, and receive things from the rest of the continent to the rest of the country. So, like I said, these three things, education, finance, and infrastructure development, are at the core of the strategy. And within the next episodes, I'm going to go deeper into all these other industries like cybersecurity, energy, which is waste to energy, solar energy, recycling and circular economy, 3D printing, robotics, engineering, automation, 5G, AI, Internet of Things, food production, agriculture, farming, agriculture production, output, healthcare, and fashion, and how these specific industries can be used within this development zone in order to kind of improve economic activity. And like I said, effectively improve the incremental capital output ratio for investments, and increase the efficiency of business and increase the efficiency of investments so that we can effectively grow and develop the economy of Polokwane, the economy of Limpopo, the economy of SADC, and eventually the economy of the continent. So thank you for watching. Wait for part 2.